We now come to the presentation of our honorary doctorate. Our honorary doctorate is the highest award that we can give as an institution to acknowledge people and their contribution. And I am delighted to call upon Sarah Hogg, our Director of Student Operations and Support, to present Becca Bland. Becca, can you come and stand here with me, facing the audience?
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, families and friends, it is my honour to introduce Becca Bland. When the university considers awarding honorary degrees, it seeks individuals who have not only pushed the boundaries of their field for the benefit of society more widely, but who also reflect the values that are important to us at Brighton: creativity, sustainability, partnership and inclusivity. Today we seek to honour such an individual. Becca Bland is the founder and chief executive of Stand Alone, a charity supporting people of all ages who have no contact with their family or a key family member. I'm also extremely proud to say that she is also a graduate of this university, having gained a BA Honours in editorial photography in 2006. Since founding Stand Alone in 2012, Becca has successfully raised over £1 million from a range of trusts, government initiatives and private donors, including the Big Lottery Fund, the Tudor Trust and Esme Fairbairn Foundation, the Ministry of Justice and private donors. She has worked to tell the stories of those who have been estranged through the national media, including BBC Radio 4's Women's Hour, The Telegraph, BBC Breakfast, ITV Evening News, The Guardian, Marie Claire, and The Mail on Sunday. Her Hidden Voices campaign in December 2015 reached over 9 million people, helping to amplify the voices of around 800 people who were estranged from their family. But Becca doesn't merely work to raise a profile of estrangement. She also works to change policy. She has managed 3 large research projects with Ipsos Mori, the University of Cambridge, and the National Union of Students and the Student Loans Company. She has written and managed policy briefings with the Office of Fair Access around estranged students, leading to obligatory support for this group in England and Wales. And she has successfully led changes to evidencing practices for estranged young people as part of the Student Loans Company's Vulnerable Student Stakeholder Group. She has written articles for Times Higher Education, highlighting the need to take account of estranged students in retention policies and strategies. Highlighting what she sees as the most important things to focus on for estranged students, she wrote, "The first and most important step must surely be awareness. It is so powerful to stop and listen to the voices of estranged students themselves, both those who are amplified via our organisation and those who study at each and every higher education institution within the UK. The second is the commitment to the idea that the needs of those who have removed themselves from a hurtful family situation are real and genuine, as well as a commitment to improving policies and support. The last is an appreciation of family capital as a measure for disadvantage. We must not let the experiences of a dysfunctional family network in early childhood become an obstacle to student success. But most importantly, we must consider that the marker of this disadvantage is not only interaction with the care system." Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, families and friends, in recognition of her major contribution to raising awareness of family estrangement and to national policy, it is my honour to present Becca Bland for the honorary degree of Doctors of Letters of the University of Brighton.
Becca, in recognition for your extraordinary work on family estrangement and your influencing of national policy, and as a Brighton grad. I am absolutely delighted to present you with the award of an Honorary Doctor of Letters. Will you now address the audience? Give me that. Give it back to me.
Vice-Chancellor, Chair, distinguished guests, graduates, families and friends. Over the last 7 years, I've been writing, talking and giving presentations about young people without family behind them as they move through higher education. At the heart of campaigning is educating, yet it's the type of education that takes place in non-traditional settings, such as the offices of the Student Loans Company or over a coffee at an MSP's office. In any meeting, there is always one key fact that you want somebody to understand, and there's often something that, in the back of your mind, you want from them in response. I want to take you back today to one of the most important meetings that I've had in my career, and that was right here at the University of Brighton when I was an undergraduate. My family relationships were very weak, and I didn't have those strong, loving parents behind me, the type of which may be here sitting proudly today. It had been an ugly struggle to get my parents' income details on my student loan form, and for the duration of my undergraduate course, we barely communicated. I didn't once go home, not even for Christmas. In my first year, like many students at the end of term, I was broke. I was stretching my student loan over 12 months when it was meant for 9. My overdraft had already been extended several times that term, with stern-looking warnings from staff at the bank saying that this really was the limit. My living arrangements were somewhat quirky. I had a room in a house with 2 teachers in training, a drug-dealing landlord, and his new Colombian wife. The lack of a parental guarantor meant that I could only rent rooms in eclectic shared houses, often without other students. I had no tenancy agreement and no rights to speak of. On the advice of my tutor, I approached student support around my financial concerns at the end of term. A meeting was arranged and I trotted up to Moulsecoombe campus to tell a kind-looking lady about how I couldn't pay my rent. I was all ready with well-organised bank statements and very well-articulated assurances of how I would pay them back after working full-time over summer. But then they asked me the dreaded question, "But what about your family? Can't they help?" "I don't have a good relationship with my parents," was all I could say. "They aren't interested." She frowned in response. "So were you in care?" she asked. I was absolutely desperate not to tell this kind lady the bigger truths about the history of abuse and neglect that I had suffered, which had been fumbled by my school and social services. The only reason I was on 2 feet was because of the informal kinship care that I had received from my grandma. I was begging in the back of my mind that she would not ask why, and she would not just give me the bridging loan. I remember shaking with nerves as she disappeared behind a screen to make the decision. I felt so much shame. Gratefully, I did get that bridging loan, and that relatively small piece of financial support changed my student experience here considerably. It helped me avoid informal homelessness and sofa surfing that summer, and allowed me stability to get myself into a better position. I made friends who have been like family to me, some of whom I'm grateful to say are sat here today, 12 years later. When I founded Standalone, I knew that students in my position faced immense challenges. I knew too that my case was by no means the most extreme. It's been personally rewarding to see policymakers, financial institutions and universities respond so positively to our calls to recognise estranged students. It has been important that the sector has begun to understand that not all students come to university with a parent or corporate parent behind them. So looking forward now, estranged young people are supported by half of all UK universities, and we have 72 letters from Vice-Chancellors like Deborah in support of this hidden group. They are a key group for supporting national policy initiatives in England and Scotland. Around £3.5 million has been committed in bursaries specifically for estranged students at these institutions on an annual basis. And I'm really proud to say that Brighton was one of the first institutions to come on board. But campaigners like me will always tell you that there's more work to be done, and housing will always be precarious for those students without a guarantor, and it's our ambition to see that change nationally. I've never spoken in detail about my own journey through university publicly until today, but I'm grateful to the multitude of estranged student campaigners across the UK who've stood up and bravely told the world what it's like to lack family support whilst at university. And I'm grateful for people like Deborah who've really taken the time to listen. So I do have an ask for you today, as all campaigners do for the audience. I'd like you to recognise that there are probably estranged students who have walked on this stage and who will walk on this stage, who have had similar struggles to those that I've described in my journey. I would like you to direct your warmth, admiration and applause to them, as well as your own friends and family today. Please keep those brave young people in your minds. For any estranged students in the audience, please know that we do see you and that we do understand how much you've achieved, and we're really proud of you. Thank you very much.
Becca, I hope that reaction gives you an indication of just how fantastically proud we are of you. Please keep up your extraordinary work. Another Brighton graduate making an absolute difference in society. Congratulations.